A lot of people, like, you know, when they grow up and they become a teenager, there's like the teenager phase that everyone has. And for me, like my phase, I didn't have a teenager phase. I did have a phase though, and that was when I was like 2 to 4, I think. And my nickname was the Wild Child, the Destroyer. And I have another one, but I was like notorious in my family for literally destroying everything and like anything I could get my hands on. I was all over that. I think my favorite instance of brilliance when I destroyed something was my parents had saved up for this really nice leather couch set. And the day we got it, you know, we got it out the boxes, and, you know, we've got, like, the ottoman and the love seat and, like, the 3-seater, and it's, you know, brand new, real leather, right? Nice, expensive thing my parents saved up for. And I decided to get a Sharpie, and king size, no less, king size Sharpie. And I just, you know, drew a little nativity scene on the back of each of the couches, you know, some suns over here and like a bunch of stick figures, and it was really cute. I really liked it. But my parents were not super happy about that. I kind of ruined the couch set. We kept it though. We kept it for like, I don't know, like all of growing up. So pretty much like every home teacher that came through our house was like, oh my gosh, there's the nativity on the back of your really nice, used to be really nice leather couch set. Congratulations, that's really cool. Another thing I did, I'm just going to go through and it was before I was 8 though, so I wasn't baptized yet. So like, that was all washed away, hopefully. And another time my sister got this nice red lipstick, and she was super excited about it because it was her first thing of lipstick. And she showed me it, and she showed me where she put it in our room, and we shared a bedroom. And I decided to take the red lipstick when she was gone, and I just smeared it everywhere. In the carpet, I shoved it in there, in the sheets, pillowcases, in the clothes, on the dresser, on the furniture, the wall. I went up on the bunk bed, got it on the ceiling, everywhere. Red, bright red lipstick. Not only that, we had just remodeled the whole entire room, so like everything was new carpet. We just repainted, new bunk beds. Like I ruined all of it. And I was just having a party. I was like a little, you know, artist, just Picasso painting things, but apparently, yeah, I never became a painter, so maybe that was never really meant to be. I thought it was, but I became an actress instead. Another one last story. One more thing that I did was I would take like my sister's soccer balls or her kites, or like, I was so rude to my sister. I was like 3 though, but I would take her things, like her lucky soccer ball, not just like a normal one. I would take something, you know, important to her, and I never thought of it as malicious. It was just like what I did, and I would take it and I would kick it in the river in our backyard. I was born in Boca Raton, Florida, so I had this river in my backyard. And this river had crocodiles or alligators. I don't know the difference. One of the two. Both can eat you alive, essentially. And I would take like her lucky soccer ball and I would kick it in the river constantly. And then I'd run inside and be like, oh my gosh, your lucky soccer ball's in the river. You have to go get it. And my dad would end up diving into this river, this like crocodile-infested river. Oh, no, it was probably alligator. Infested river to like go get my sister's soccer ball, because if she didn't have it, like the world was gonna end. And he like essentially risked his life for this because I got a total kick out of it. So and I acted totally innocent. Like I had no idea how that soccer ball got there. It's so weird, awkward. Darn it. I totally knew what I was doing, but yeah, that was my phase. But then I think I just got it out early because I didn't have a crazy phase when I was a teenager. I was like pretty, obedient. But as a kid, man, that was a whole nother story. But I got over it. I got out of there. Or maybe I still haven't had my teenager phase, and it's going to hit once I hit 20, because that's coming up. But, yeah, that's me as a kid. Born in Boca Raton, Florida, hitting up Disneyland, and also destroying things. That was pretty much my life as a kid. A lot of people don't believe me when I say I grew up like a shy sports nut, because I like pink and I like makeup and I like girly things and I'm an actress, but I was not like that at all when I was a kid. I was like, as soon as I turned 5 years old, I got into karate. I was doing soccer, I was doing swimming, I was doing fencing, I did basketball, I tried tennis out, I did gymnastics, I did tumbling, cheerleading. I literally did every sport on the planet. I was obsessed. I had a lot of energy. I loved active things, and I don't know, I just got a total kick out of it, and especially karate. My older sisters, everyone in my family has taken karate at one point in time. And my older sisters, I have 3 older sisters, and they all had taken karate, and I saw them perform, and I'd go to their belt tests when they, move up in a level in karate, and I just thought it was so cool, and I was like, I want to be a ninja. That's so insane, and I wanted to use a nunchuck, and so I had been waiting for my 5th birthday. See, this is the thing that's on my mind as a 5-year-old, is going to karate. And once I turned 5, my mom took me over to the dojo. We got me signed up, and then I was enlisted to do Kempo karate. And from there, I just ate it up. I was super into it. I was the only girl. Every now and then we'd have some girls show up, and then they'd leave, and for the most part, it was me being the only girl and having all these guys around. And for me growing up, I pretty much had guy friends. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends, which guys are totally awesome. It was awesome. But sometimes, it was kind of a bummer because, in different friend groups, it'd be like the girls would kind of exclude me because I didn't wear the cool thing was to wear a shirt and a skirt, and if you wore a dress, that was not as cool. And I wore dresses because all my clothes were hand-me-downs. I also didn't brush my hair because I was into sports and I didn't know what a hairbrush was or how to shower. I hated hygiene, so I was, pretty much like a boy with long hair as a kid. But I love sports, and with karate, I actually did not quite get to a black belt. I got to the belt right before a black belt, and I believe I already had all my tips to advance to the next level. All I had to do was test into it, but that was when I quit and I decided to become an actress. So it's kind of super weird, that, this whole segue, but sports was definitely a huge part of me growing up. And with karate, I thought, I'd own a dojo and I would be a karate instructor. And, I was already competing and touring around Utah and performing and being in parades and competitions. And so for me, that was my life, and that's how I thought it would be. And, it just goes to show how different things can turn out, and that's okay. And change can be good. Just because you start in something or you think you love something, and I definitely want to take a karate class again. I think it'd be so fun, but it's no longer my passion and what drives me in life, and that's okay. But I definitely think if they make a Karate Kid the musical movie, I'd be in it. I'd love to. If James Cameron just decides to make one, I would love to be cast in that. But yeah, so that was me with sports. Crazy story. Oh, also one more thing. I was the only girl, but guess what? I was the sparring champion of my age. So, just saying. Girl power. That's what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter if you're the only girl in your career, whether it's sports or whether it's business or you want to be a doctor. Like, girls are awesome. So, kind of segueing into how I went from like this sort of tomboy to this girly actress. My sister, I definitely, not blame, but appreciate and give credit to her for getting me into the arts. Because I was shy and performing was scary and talking to people was scary, and I was the kind of kid that was kind of in my own world, and I had my friends, I had my guy friends, I had my sports that was comfortable for me, but she would go around the house singing. This is my sister Alana, and I would start to memorize the songs that she would sing around the house, and I would learn them, and then I wouldn't sing them around the house. I would deliberately go outside into the garage, and I would go into the car, and I would shut the door so that no one could hear me. Because if I sang in the shower, I know people could hear me, so I wasn't going to sing in the shower. Like, that wasn't going to fly. No one could hear me. So I made sure that I would go somewhere where I thought, just guess what, my mom heard me, obviously. But I thought no one could hear me, so I could be totally confident and just belt out these songs. And one of the songs that I remember the most that, like, I think was, like, my first song that I memorized was Love. If you've seen Parent Trap. It's, like, in the beginning, I think, of the movie. L is for the way you look at me. Oh, it's just like a jazz song. And I memorized it and I sang it, and I was just like, I think at the time, I was just a little kid, and I just loved it, and I would take the song and I just belt it out and try and, make it mature sounding as I could with my little tiny frame, but I did that, and then my mom heard me one time, and she was like, "Who is that? Where's that voice coming from? Is that Alana? But no, it sounds different." And she finds out that I've been hiding in the garage singing, and she had no idea that I could sing like that, because I've been keeping it hidden because I didn't want anyone to know, because I was too shy and I was embarrassed about it. And then from there it was like, yo, you're good at this. You should, maybe sing in a talent show. And I was so scared. But I did. I sang in a talent show, and from there I sang in a couple talent shows, and it kind of became like, I was still like full-fledged into sports, so it's just like, do talent show here and there. But it was kind of like I became a different person on the stage, and maybe not a different person, but I think like who I was on the inside, I was more comfortable with letting out when I went on stage, because I just could kind of like lose myself in the song and the performance. And when I go up, my little 10-year-old me would go up and like be belting out these, big songs, and I just, tried to make it as soulful as I could, and, typical like American Idol thing you see with like kids on these talent shows doing that sort of thing. But that, like, I did that, but it's still terrifying. I wasn't getting into it. I was a sports kid. And then a few years later, and I think I'm like 13, and I'd been looking up in the newspaper, because in the newspaper they used to have like auditions in the newspaper. Nowadays it's online, but I would always like look through the newspapers and look at auditions, and of course I never did anything about it, but I just was like, oh, those auditions look cool, and I just keep them in my mind, but I'd never say anything or like go audition for them, because that was scary, and I didn't do that, and I wasn't considering being an actress. It didn't even cross my mind to have that as something I could do, like as a career, or like even as a serious hobby. And one day my sister was doing a musical at Thanksgiving Point, and they needed extra kids. They were doing Oklahoma, a classic Rodgers and Hammerstein musical you probably all know about. And I said I would do it. And I was like, sure, okay, I guess I'll do it. And I think that just like lit a fire in me, because I show up to rehearsal, and you've just got all these people who are so passionate and so devoted to making this make-believe world. And I remember being on the stage, and we started rehearsing Terry folks should stick together, Terry folks should all be pals. It's a song from the musical. And everyone was into it. And I mean, I was like, this is fake. This isn't real. This is acting. But like, it seemed like it was real. And my mind was just blown. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can join in. It was like we were all playing house together and with adults. And that literally was the coolest thing in my mind. And I was like, oh, I just had so much fun. It was just, and, you know, I look back and I realized, like, as a kid, like, playing house, playing make-believe was my thing. And I never thought that playing make-believe could be a career. And so that just kind of, like, started with the fire in me. And then after that, I had my first audition for a play. And it was called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. I'd actually read the book, so I was familiar with the story. So I loved the story, and it was at this local theater, and I decided to audition. I wanted to audition, and I show up there. I put on my nice dress. I make myself look presentable, and I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. I go in the room, there's all these kids there, and I can tell these kids know what they're doing. And they've been to a couple auditions, and some of them like have the script already memorized, and I don't know how. They must have got them in advance. And, a bunch of them have their moms with them, and they're all, like momager, stage moms. They're professional. They know what's going on. And I'm going in there like clueless, and I'm scared out of my socks. And I sit down, and this was an open audition where you're watching everyone auditioning. So you're seeing all these people go up, and they're super confident and talented, and it just seems like it's natural to them. And then they call me up. Oh my gosh. I've got my script, and I'm just like clutching it for dear life, trying to act cool, calm. Probably didn't look it. I don't know what I look like. I just know how I felt. And I go up there, and they have me reading opposite another girl. And I'm holding the paper, and my hands are so sweaty, it's just turned into this like moist towelette at this point with words on it. And I'm so nervous, I'm shaking, I'm trying to read the words, and I'm struggling because I'm just so nervous, and I'm losing track of where we are in the script. And I go up there, and the other girl says her line, and then I I don't remember what the line was, but I just like whisper. I just start whispering it, like hardly audible. And the director stops us, and she's like, but can you like say it louder? Like just talk normally. And we do the scene again. I do it the exact same. I'm whispering. No one can hear me. I can't even hear myself. I'm so quiet. I'm so terrified. And she gives me multiple chances, and she keeps trying to like get them out of me. And I can't even think. I can't even process. I was so scared. Stage fright is real. And she was never able to get me to really speak louder. And then after I went, I sat down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I blew it. My first audition, and I blew it. Oh my gosh. And after the audition, we go into the car, and my mom's there, and she's thinking like, honey, you don't have to do this just because your sister's doing that. If you think you have to perform just because your sister is, don't think that at all. And my parents, to be clear, were very encouraging of trying new things, and are very supportive in whatever I decide to do. And as long as I'm being a good person and working hard, that's important to them. And so it was like, they did not want to pressure me, and they were not at all like encouraging me even to like go into something just because my sister was in it. So it was like, whatever you want to do, honey, like, you don't have to perform. You don't have to audition for this stuff if you don't like it. And I said to my mom, and I'm crying at this point, I said to my mom, I said, I I know I really want to do this. It's just so hard. It's so hard. And it was so scary for me. And I know, like, you know, it may sound dumb, but at the time, that was a huge trial for me, that I found something that I loved, but it seemed so out of reach, and it was so scary, and it was not easy. And, you know, for some people, you know, being outgoing and doing that, it's just natural. It's inherent. But for me, like, that was so opposite from who I was at the time. And I know people see me now, and I'm outgoing or whatever, but at the time, that was so, so different. And I just want to say, like for me, like acting, that I ended up getting cast in the show, though. By some miracle, I'm pretty sure that was like divine intervention, because there was no reason to cast me in that. There was no reason. And they actually made up a little part for me. I think it was out of pity they cast me, honestly, because they gave me 3 lines, and they weren't in the script. They were written on the side in like some pencil that they added 3 random interjectory, non-important lines. And one of the things that was in the script of The Best Christmas Pageant Ever is this little saying that they say over and over again is, there are no small parts, only small actors. And it was so funny that happened to be in that show, because it was so fitting for me, because, you know, it's like I get there and I've got 3 lines and I'm like, oh, I'm no good at this. I've got 3 lines, and I just decided, you know, this is terrifying and this is scary, but I love it. And it's what I want to do, and I want to grow and I want to learn. So I took those 3 lines and I worked my butt off on those. I worked those every day, countless. I don't even know how much time I spent on them, but I like rehearsed and, you know, I rehearsed my blocking for all these scenes that I didn't say anything in, or wasn't even really technically important in, but I worked hard because, you know, it's something that was important to me. And what ended up happening was, you know, I performed every night, and I did my 3 lines the best I could, and I loved it. And then the next year, they were doing the play again for Christmas, to do every year, and I auditioned, and I got the lead. And I went from being the like littlest scaredy cat part to who somehow magically got cast, I don't even know, to working so hard that I became the lead. And that for me was huge. That was so huge for me, because some people, you know, it came naturally, but I had to work hard. It wasn't something that I was naturally gifted at. And I think sometimes it's easy to look at other people and think, oh my gosh, wow, okay, cool, you know, I can never do what they're doing, because, you know, that their voice is just amazing, and I'm never going to have their voice. And the point isn't to be them. The point is to take what you got and work with it. And that's what I did. And yeah, so it wasn't something that came naturally, and neither did once that kind of sparked my acting bug. Eventually in high school is when I decided to kind of stop sports and to really try this musical theater thing. And I decided to go to a performing arts school, and that's kind of where everything got started. It was just that catching that little fire, and regardless of, you know, the trials, or if something's hard, pushing through it, and remembering that hard work works when your talent doesn't. And that you can look around and you can see all these people with all these talents and all these things you're gifted at, and, you know, all the opportunities that they have that you don't. And it doesn't matter, because it's about working with what you got. And that's going to push you further than anything. So I'm honestly super grateful that I was a scaredy cat kid, because I think I would have taken things for granted more. So yeah, there's that. I'm definitely not scared anymore. I like people. I like talking. Whenever I say I homeschooled, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're so normal for a homeschooler. Or they say that, or they're like, it makes sense. Yeah, I can see it. Which is always so funny to me, because I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes around homeschoolers. And they're not true, a lot of them. I think what makes us different about homeschooling is you grow up in an environment where you are free to be creative and be yourself. You don't have the same kind of peer pressure that you do in a normal public school where, like, stuff is more about getting the grade, and you've got a lot of peer pressure, and you've got, one teacher adult that's your example, but then you've got the ratio of all these kids that are your same age, kind of in this bubble. And for me growing up, my parents were big role models, and that's who I got to look up to. So just like growing up, having a better example and having the freedom to have flexibility and in my education, and like having an education system worked around me versus just around the average or trying to reach the average. So if there's a subject I excelled at, I could go ahead. I could go as fast as I wanted. If there's something that I wasn't as good at, I could go at my pace, and so that I could learn at my pace and learn the way I meant to learn. I think all of us are different human beings. We're all unique. Our personalities are different. What we like in life is different. Our hobbies are different. So naturally, I think the way we learn is going to be different too. And I think homeschooling, I'm honestly so grateful for it because it helped me grow a lot and figure out who I was a lot earlier on. Because being in this industry, in the acting industry that I'm in, you gotta have a solid foundation of who you are, because otherwise you're just gonna get tossed and turned, and you're gonna lose track of who you are, and you're gonna lose your identity. And so for me to have a more rapid process of being able to figure out who I was as a kid versus waiting till I got out of school and then being like, oh wait, who am I? What do I want in life? I had that freedom. And I think sometimes people also think like when you're homeschooling, you don't learn anything sometimes, where it's like you just go to like roller coasters and learn about physics. But no, I had real school, sit down homework. It's just you don't have to go to school and then have homework on top of that. So it was great for me to be able to do all the things I wanted to do, the hobbies. I was doing sports, so I was learning how to croquet and cooking and hanging out with friends. And I had a big social life. Don't worry, I was shy, but I had a lot of friends. And I was able to do a lot more just because of the flexibility of it and the efficiency of it. So homeschooling, I would honestly be a different person if I did not homeschool. I can guarantee you that. But so I homeschooled academics all growing up, and then in high school, I decided to go to performing arts high school. And I still homeschooled my academics, but I just took some performing arts classes there. And the school that I went to was Pioneer High School for the Performing Arts, and it just had started up. It was brand new, and it was this charter school, and no one had been, so there were no reviews out there as to what the school was like and if it was a good experience and if there were going to be cliques or not. And so I was like, I don't know, like I'm already signed up to go take some performing classes at a normal high school, and I don't know, like, do I want to do that? Like, it's a performing arts high school. Like, are they going to be super snooty? That's what I'm afraid about. And I don't know. I just kind of had the gut feeling that I was like, I just feel like I need to drop these classes at my local public school and take my performing arts classes at a performing arts high school. And no one had been. And I didn't know if it was going to be good or not. I had no idea. I was clueless. I was walking into the dark with this one. But I'm a kind of person who believes in intuition, and I think that's also intuition mixed with the Holy Ghost and light of Christ. But I have a very strong gut feeling about things, and when I do, I follow it and I trust that, because every time I have, it's turned out well. And so I just had a gut feeling. I was like, I need to just go full-fledged into this performing and just try it out. And if it doesn't work, that's cool. I can go back to normal school, and that's the great thing about life. It's like, you can make a decision and then, try something else. If this career isn't the right thing for you, that's cool. That's okay. I wouldn't, don't be too afraid to make choices, I guess. And I did. I decided, I dropped my classes and I signed up for this charter performing arts high school. And I show up first day, go to all my classes. It's in like this dance studio and a vocal studio, and like, you know, instead of like normal lockers, you've got like dance cubbies, and you've got these vocal rooms, and you've got a recording studio and ballet bars. And like straight off the bat, I fell in love. I loved it. I thrived off of this place. My high school experience seriously was amazing, because academically I was homeschooled, so I was able to be very flexible with that. And then with the performing arts, I had the most amazing teachers, and I just got to do what I loved, and I got to train and to just push myself and grow. And there were no cliques. You know, it was a school of maybe like 120 people at most, I think, when I was going. So it was small, but we were all friends. It didn't matter if you were like the emo kids or the preppy kids or the homeschoolers, or, you know, if you were more into music or film. We were all tight. We were all super good friends. And we kind of, since it was a new school, we're able to create this environment of support and, you know, non-judgment, and just being there for each other and being friends with everyone. And so you go to performance at my school, and if someone messes up on stage, we don't laugh at them. We clap. Like if anyone falls in dance class, we all clap. We congratulate people, because we encourage people to push themselves and to try new things. And you're going to fail sometimes. That's going to happen, and that's a good thing. If you're not failing sometimes, you're doing something wrong. You should congratulate yourself when you fail, because that means you're trying. Because that means you're trying things. I love the Yoda quote, "Do or do not, there is no try." Because you never know till you try, and sometimes you fall, but that's how you learn. Babies fall, and they just get back up again, and if they didn't, then they would never learn how to walk. So I love my school. I loved it. So whatever your schooling background is, however you learn, it's going to be different than someone else. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just figure out your own way. So, yeah. So through high school, I was a janitor. It was not a super glamorous job, but I'm definitely proud of it, because it was hard work, it was good work, and that's how I paid for all of my dance classes and my vocal classes and my acting classes. And, you know, I was a janitor, also a secretary and a teacher, and mowing lawns, and someone who sold concessions at football games, all at the same time, juggling all of that with school and with work. And I did all that so that I could pay for all my classes. And that's, you know, something in my family that I'm very glad we kind of instilled in all of us kids is, you know, once you turn 8, that's kind of when you start paying for things. And you know, it's not like a, you know, like thing to be brutal of like, oh, you have to do everything. But it's like, you know, to become an adult eventually, you've got to be able to work for yourself and fend for yourself. And, you know, nothing's free. And the things that are most worthwhile are typically the things that are the hardest to get. And so from a young age, I had to learn how to be responsible with my money and to be responsible with my time and kind of prioritize what was really important to me. And I think that helped me kind of figure out, you know, in high school, before I got to college, what I really wanted to do. Is because, you know, if I was investing a lot of my time and money into something, I had to make sure it's something I really wanted. And that was a huge blessing for me in my life. But then once I got out of high school, you know, I spent these years training and, you know, getting up at 4 a.m. to clean toilets and then not going to bed until, you know, 1 after a dress rehearsal, and having no breaks, to having some big rejection, having a lot of rejection, and just having this kind of period of time where I was like, crap, no one wants me. I'm not talented. I'm not going to go anywhere. Like, nothing's working out for me. And there were a couple big things that happened where I was like, this ruins my whole plan. I don't know what to do now. I'm going to have to, I don't even know, am I going to have to change careers because it seems like I suck at everything now according to everyone, and it's hard because you'll hear, if you let the random opinion of others affect you, it will affect you because there's always going to be someone who's going to dislike what you do and not think you're good enough. And a friend of mine always says this, that like you can take a situation, you can be better or bitter. And I decided, though it was hard, to be better. And I took those experiences and I decided to work really hard in spite of all the rejection. And I kind of figured out through that my worth doesn't come from some director or some important, influential person. It comes from God, and it comes from, this intrinsic worth we all have. And, and I decided if I love this, then why does it matter what anyone else thinks? This is what I love. This is what makes me happy. And men are that they might have joy. So I stuck with it. And, I had one year that was really rough, but things eventually started working out. And because of that hard work and that extra push I gave myself, my hard work worked when my talent didn't. And that was able to show through. And, I'm just super grateful for that. And, rejection, I'm glad I kind of learned from the beginning that rejection is going to happen because no matter what career you choose, you're going to have uncomfortable moments and there are going to be things that suck. And being, a Mormon in this industry and having strict values, which I see as really freeing, but a lot of people don't. It's kind of hard because people try and push you and try and make you do things that you are not comfortable with. And as long as you know where your worth comes from, it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. You've already decided what's important to you, what's, whether career or your morality or whatever, you've already decided. So, rejection, whatever. You never know till you try. Do or do not. There is no try. Just don't let the possibility of failure or rejection prevent you from doing what you love or what you want to do. I kind of started out my artsy career pathway through musical theater, and that's once I decided that's what I wanted to do. That was my whole goal, and I never considered film. And I love acting. That was my favorite part about musical theater was acting, but I never in my wildest dreams even thought about it at all. It is so funny. It never crossed my mind. And one day, I'm doing a school talent show for my performing arts high school, and I'm doing a scene from my favorite musical, Guys and Dolls, and I was playing Adelaide. If you know that musical, it's the best. And a casting director was in the audience and saw me and talked to me afterwards and thought I would be great for a couple films and that I'd be great for film. And it was crazy to me. I was like, what? Whoa, A, I didn't know there were people always watching. You're always auditioning. Surprise. And B, I never thought about doing film. But when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. And, eventually, long story short, I end up booking my first film gig. And my first one, I believe, was my first role in a film was Bullying Stop It. It's this Mormon message I did that ended up kind of going viral. And I was playing this girl who got bullied, Melissa. And it was the first time I'd been on set, and I didn't know what a call sheet was, and I didn't understand all the film directions on the script. I understood stage directions, but film was a whole new thing. And when they talk about panning or glide cam or we're doing like a 2-shot, or I don't know what any of this stuff means. And I show up on set. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Like, it was so new to me. And I was just kind of like, okay, I've never done this. I've never taken a film acting class. I'm clueless. I'm just going to I'm going to fake it till I make it. That's been like a huge motto for me, faking it till I make it, because I'd never taken a film acting class. And, you know, I show up there, and someone was like, oh, by the way, the crafty is in this room, and this is in this room, and, you know, Video Village is over here. And I'm like, what are all these terms? I'm clueless. What does this mean? And I'm like, wait, crafty? There's crafty here? And he's like, yeah, you know, crafty. And I was thinking crafty in the film world meant like there was a table devoted to like scrapbook supplies. So I'm thinking like, wow, this is like, man, these Mormon Message people, they really go full out, you know, with their, on set. It's crazy. And turns out crafty's food. But that's even better. I'm not complaining. But I totally thought like we had like a scrapbooking section on set. But yeah, I got into film just kind of by chance. But then from there, I loved it. And I was like, I love trying new things. And I'm the kind of person that's happy to do anything and try new things and change or whatever, or adjust with what's going on. And I just like soaked it up like a sponge. I went on that set, and then next thing you know, I'm filming another music video for the church, and then I start doing another Mormon Message, and you know, stuff just starts coming in, and it was so fun for me. And I'm learning all these new terms and the difference between stage and film, and how you adjust between the two. That was a big adjustment, having to learn how to be subtle and smaller with my acting and not be like jazz hands all the time. Not that I did jazz hands all the time, but still like them. And yeah, it was really crazy for me, especially through the whole audition process. It was so new to me to like show up to this like secret studio where you had to get like this fancy card, and they wouldn't let you in if you didn't have it. And like, whoa, film is gnarly. And I loved that. And then from the bullying video to have my first thing go viral was crazy. It was crazy because like the next day I'm going to school, and like everyone's talking about it. And it was almost like the bullying video in a sense, because, you know, Melissa's going through the school, and it's like, you know, there's like buzz about. And it was just kind of insane because I'd never done this before, and I didn't know, like, is this the normal experience? Is this what happens when you do film? I don't know. But I think also what was really good about having that was because of the topic, and it's something that we all relate to, bullying. And, you know, bullying, whether we're the bully or we've been bullied or both, you know, it strikes a chord. And to see the responses from that, and to see how many people were affected by that. I know just, you know, in my own family or with my friends, being bullied is a big thing. And it can seriously mess with you. And to see the positive effect that had on people was crazy inspiring. That's something I honestly, every time I'm, you know, going through some audition that just sucks, and then I just have to remember, like, this is why I do this. This is why I do what I do, because it can move people like this, and it can change them, and it can make the world a better place. And I want to do stuff. I want to create works that inspire people and mean something, and that's what keeps me going. And since then, I just loved film, and I've stuck with it, and it's my baby. I have this really bad history and bad relationship with cars. It's really not good. It's not healthy. Ever since I can remember, I've not liked the thought of driving. Like, I was okay being in a car while someone else is driving. That's fine. But me driving, no. Terrified of it. Always. You know, it was even before I was even allowed to drive or before I was even, testing to get my driver's license. Just the thought of it, being in charge of other people's lives in this little weird automobile coffin-like thing, no. I was not excited about it. Most people when they're 16, they're like, yeah, I'm going to get a license. I'm going to be so cool. I'm going to have a car and whatever. And I was like, I just want like a chauffeur, or I'm going to walk everywhere. I don't care. I do not want to drive. It scares the crap out of me. But eventually it got to the point, so I didn't get my license until I was 17, to be honest. I was like barely 17. I like just turned 17, I think. Or maybe it was right before I turned 17. And my family was going on vacation. And I was working. I was performing. It was some like Disney thing. I don't even remember. But my family's out of town, so I didn't have anyone to drive me anywhere. And it was like an hour away where I had to work. So I didn't really have a choice but to get a license. Not only did I not have a choice, but like I had to get it and I had to pass the test on the first time because it was getting down to the wire and like they were about to leave. And like when I was getting my like driver's ed thing and everything, which I did driver's ed in 2 days. Crazy. Don't procrastinate that. That's stupid. 2 days. That was insane. But I did it. I finished it. But like the first time I had to drive across State Street, holy cow, I cried. I kid you not. Like, that's super babyish of me. But, everyone's got a fear. Everyone's scared of something. And for me, as a kid, it was auditioning. As a teenager, it was cars. Still, I don't like cars. But I've improved from there. So I cried the first time I had to drive across State Street. Literally just drive across it. That was it. That made me cry. And it terrified me so much. But once I turned 17, I didn't have a choice. I had to get a license. And I did. And everything's hunky-dory. I've got a license. Driving terrifies me. But, it's manageable. I can, do it fine. I just have to breathe and focus on my breath and not get too scared. And, I might take a while to take a left turn. I don't flip U's. This is me at 17. And like 3 months after I get my license, some chick hits me. And I black out. My car is blown across like 5 lanes of traffic. Her car like spins back, glass everywhere. Both of our cars are mashed, totaled. I like wake up, I'm on the completely opposite side of the road. There's like gas leaking and there's smoke everywhere and I'm kind of confused and my shoulder's acting funky and keeps popping weird, but I'm like in shock. And I get out of the car, the other chick's like halfway down the road and her head's on the wheel, so I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she's dead. I was like, almost like, this is why I shouldn't have gotten a license, Mom and Dad. Like, I was right. Driving is dangerous. You told me I'd be okay. I'm not. And, obviously, everything has risk to it. So, I can't just be a hermit. I have to drive if I want to have a career. So I know that now. But at the time, I was like, it's terrifying. I don't like this. And I'll place blame on anyone I could. And then I'm freaking out. I've got my phone. And my phone like flew somewhere in the car, but I was able to find it. And then I've got my phone out, like preparing to call 911. But I'm not. I'm not calling 911. I don't know why. I'm like freaking out. And there's this guy that like walks up to me, and he was just in the McDonald's. So there were a bunch of witnesses to prove that it was not my fault. But he starts telling me all these great car crash stories that he's had of all these people who like, flipped their cars or did crazy stuff and got injured. And, I was like, that's not really what I want to hear right now. And I kept asking him if I should call 911, but he was completely ignoring me and saying, oh, I had this one trip where this one person flipped their car off a mountain. And I'm just like 17-year-old me freaking out. I'm like, should I call 911? Should I call 911? Should I call 911? Eventually, I don't call 911. I call my mom, of course. Like, she's pretty much the best 911 that exists. I call her, tell her I get in a car crash. I tell her I'm okay and everything. Because first, when you tell your parents you're in a car crash, it's like, are you dead? I wasn't. I got super lucky, honestly, because I don't know how another car did not hit me because I was passed out, blown across all lanes of traffic. Divine intervention, I guess. And eventually I call 911, the police come, blah, blah, blah. Everything's okay. Not the cars, obviously. The other girl, had also just gotten her license. So we were both newbies, and she was bawling, and she felt horrible, and I was just like, it's fine, everything's fine, it's cool, it's fine. And I was apparently really buzzed and just like in shock and apparently acting super weird. But to me, I was just like, and turns out the next day I can't move this side of my body. And I thought I was okay. And I go in to get checked up, and it turns out that I've like ripped, like from the impact, this whole like arm and all the muscles have been so ripped up that my arm like wasn't in its socket anymore. And it wasn't like just like, oh, dislocated, let's pop it back in. Like there was nothing holding my arm in my shoulder. So I like couldn't move this side of my body. Side of my torso anyways. And I couldn't dress myself, and I couldn't drive, and it really sucked. The interesting thing about that, though, was I needed help dressing, and there were things that I needed help do. I couldn't put my hair in a ponytail anymore. Like, there were things that people needed to assist me with, and being an independent person, that was hard. That was, especially having to, like, help get dressed. I almost felt, like, humiliated having to do that. I've always prided myself in, yeah, I can handle everything by myself, and that was a humbling experience, honestly, to have to trust people. And, I didn't really have a choice but to be vulnerable in some ways. And it kind of taught me the lesson of you need other people, and life is designed for people to reach out and for it to be a family and not just you yourself alone. Reach out to other people and God. And that was humbling. Another car crash that I have another car crash story. On the way to set for a movie I did called Saturday's Warrior, it was really early in the morning. I was driving up to Salt Lake on the freeway. It was kind of scary. It was dark because I had an early call time, and I'm exiting the freeway ramp. So I've almost made it out of the freeway unscathed, and I'm exiting, and I check my blind spot, and I check my mirror, and I'm switching lanes, right? Because it forks off, and I gotta get off on the right fork, and I check, and there's a semi-truck behind me, but it's behind me. I'm good, and I do this thing where I freak out a little bit, and I slow down when I'm changing lanes. I'm one of those people, and totally got in an accident with a double semi-truck on the exit of a freeway and totaled my car again. A new car, a different car. And that was kind of terrifying. And I total it. I pull off to the side. I'm freaking out. I'm bawling. Just had a little party with that semi-truck. And I call, I think, one of the PAs on set, because they're all on set. They've got everything set up. And I call him, and I'm bawling, and I say, I hit a semi-truck. I'm going to be late. Bye. And I hang up. And then they're like, what the crap? Is she dead? Is our main actress okay? And so they're on set all scrambling because they just cast this movie. And this is like the second day of shooting, and they don't know if I'm alive or if I'm okay or where I'm at, because I just like hang up and I'm bawling. So they think something's severely wrong. And then I call my mom, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, why are you sorry? And I'm like, I don't know. I just felt so bad because I could have endangered someone. And I totaled that car too. So that was almost exactly a year after my other car was totaled. So far it had been totaling a car per year. Not really good. But I totaled that one. And everything ended up being okay. I actually didn't have any injuries from it. So, you get the typical like whiplash or whatever, but I was actually okay. I was really shaken up, and it was the second day of shooting. So, some of the PAs come and they picked me up, and then my parents took the car, and I go on set, and it was it was like the ending scene we were shooting and one of the beginning scenes. So some of the most important scenes we were shooting that day, and I'm just like shaking, and I'm just terrified, and I've just been bawling. And by some miracle, it ended up going really well. Once I was around my supportive cast and crew, and they were just giving me hugs and love, like I couldn't have done it without them. And speaking of Saturday's Warrior and car crashes, there's a curse. There is a curse with Saturday's Warrior. I got in a car accident on the way to set. Morgan did as well. Mason did as well. Bonnie did as well. Anna did as well. And I feel like there's someone else. I mean, I did. But like at least 5 people got into car accidents just on the way to or from rehearsal or set to Saturday's Warrior. Like, there's a curse. So drive extra careful if you're going to anything Saturday's Warrior related, because there's a good chance something bad's gonna happen. But yeah, those are my car crashes. I have bad experiences. Both my grandpas were run over by semi-trucks as well. I've been in other accidents, but like multiple like fender benders or T-bones or blah, 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 blah. But those are the biggest ones. Those are ones where the cars were totaled. But I have a lot of other ones as well. So don't ever get in a car with me. Moral of the story. So a few of you may have seen a movie called Saturday's Warrior. I did a remake of this musical from the 70s that was made into a movie in the 80s and now being brought back in the 2000s, or I guess 2010s, as like a new made-for-film movie. And the audition process for this was a beast, let me tell you. Most, like 90% of what you do as an actress, 10% is what you do on set and acting, right? 90% is auditioning and getting rejected. And auditioning can either be, show up and you have a 1-minute audition, or show up and they don't let you audition at all because they've already decided they don't like your look. Or it can be an all-day audition, and then there's a callback and another callback and another callback and another callback. That was Saturday's Warrior, like 5 billion callbacks. So initially when they started having like auditions, I had a vocal teacher I'd worked with who knew the Diazevedos, and she recommended me to them and say, hey, you should have this girl audition. So they asked me if I could send in a video audition, but at the time I was in Florida and I was really busy, so I didn't get to send in an audition video, but I did send them some links to some YouTube videos. Actually, my mom did, because I didn't have a good enough connection, and I wasn't even in like a hotel that I could at the time. Like I had a hotel, but I wasn't getting home till late every night. And so all they got was like some YouTube video of me, I think, performing like Frim Fram Sauce, some jazz song. I don't even remember. I don't even know what they saw. And then they call me in. I go into this like film studio, and I'm this wee little high schooler at the time, and everyone else there is older by a bit. You've got they're all like in their 20s or late 20s, and I'm going in and I'm actually younger than the age of the characters I'm auditioning for. So I got called back for Julie and Pam, 2 of the female leads. And I go in and I read the sides, and everyone was super friendly. I had a lot of fun. And then, I finish that. I go home. Next thing you know, I get another call. I need to come back in. So I come back in. I read more sides. And it's just with the director, and they've got a camera, and we mess around, blah, blah, blah. Go back, get another call, come back in, read with people this time, read with other actors. Same thing, over and over again, keeps happening. And they have me go in recording and recording and recording and singing and acting and doing all these different things over and over and over again. And it started spring and didn't end till fall of that year. So I was going in like every week. And I've read with so many Kesslers, and which just goes to show there was a lot of talent. Holy cow. But I read with many Todds and Kesslers and saw all these different people that were super talented, and I like felt super unworthy to be in my position because I'm like, why aren't these people like you should just cast them? Like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. But I just had so much fun with that audition process, which is good. It wasn't miserable, but it was long, and it got to the point where I was like, are they ever gonna cast this? Oh my gosh. And eventually I get another call, of course, and actually the day before was my birthday. It was my 18th birthday, the day before I get this call, and I had a callback the day before on my birthday, and so I spent all day at callbacks reading with more Todds, still thinking like, I don't know if they're probably not going to cast me. I don't even know. It seems like they like me, but I don't know if they're going to cast me. You know, that's the worst thing about auditioning is it's like this doubt. Like you're like, am I good? Am I not? Like, am I going to cast? It's like you don't know. You just have to wait it out. And so I spent all day doing that, and then I had a show that night. So that was my 18th birthday. And the next day I get a call, and they want me to come in to talk to me, to have a talk. And I'm like, to have a talk? Like, wait, so like, are you like trying to let me down easy? Like I'm going to drive all the way up there, and then I'm going to go in there, and you're going to be like, oh, sorry, we really liked you, but you didn't get the part. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I tried to ask him more like, so, like, what's this talk about? And they wouldn't tell me. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to drive an hour to get to the studio just to have them tell me you didn't book it. And you spent this whole summer, your whole summer and spring auditioning for this, and you didn't book it. I just know it. And I drive up there. My family, my mom and my sister came with me so that whatever happened, we'd be able to go out to eat afterwards and celebrate my birthday that I didn't get to celebrate. And I go in there, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen. I sit down, and they take this piece of paper, they pull it up, and my picture's on it. And underneath it says Julie Flinders. And they said, your cast is Julie Flinders. We want you as our lead in Saturday's Warrior. And I just about like died inside because I was so happy. And even now I'm more grateful that I was cast in that because of now that I know how amazing that experience was. But yeah, that was how Saturday's Warrior happened. Crazy long. Worth it in the end. But I mean, had I not been cast, maybe I would have been a little more bitter. But the auditioning, if you don't know, it can be a beast. But either way, I had a lot of fun, and it ended up working out, so I can't complain. But that's where the whole Saturday's Warrior thing began. And then from there, we filmed, and the movie came out, and it was great. After, Saturday's Warrior and really getting into film, I kind of decided this is what I want to do full time, and right now that's what I'm doing. I live and breathe it. I'm also, at the same time, I actually just finished finals, but at the same time, simultaneously going to school in the music, dance, theater major on a talent scholarship. It's been totally crazy, but totally awesome. So it's been great because I've been able to do the singing, acting, and dancing, and the theater and film, and go back and forth. And on top of that, I see now, like with technology and with the internet and with YouTube, there's a lot more in our hands and a lot more power in our hands as actors than there was before with studios. Everything was up to them, but now we can create our own content way easier. It's way more accessible because we all have phones. And so I thought, as an artist, I should always be creating something. And, I'm used to being an actress and showing up on set and, doing the acting part. And, luckily I'd actually started to get into a lot of improv. So a lot of the scripts I'd been doing, either the script came from my improv or, just, some of the films I've been doing had been a lot of my own improv bits. But I was like, what if I created my own stuff? And I wasn't just the actress, but I'm also directing, and I'm producing, and I'm concepting, and, storyboarding music videos. I'm a singer, so why not, combine my singing and some of my dancing and my acting into one thing? And I thought music videos and YouTube would be the perfect venue. So lately I've been getting into that. I have a YouTube channel and I also have a Facebook channel, and it's been so cool for me to do this because I have more of an appreciation for what a director and a producer have to do, because I'm now wearing all the hats. And even just to make, a 3-minute music video, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. And especially when, like you're trying to do something efficiently, time-wise, budget-wise, like there's a lot of things that come into play, not just the art part, but the business side. And so for me, it's been really kind of cool to kind of finesse, and hone in these different skills being in front and behind the camera. And it's been so fun for me because I've got more freedom, and I've kind of got these liberties to create what I want. And, I'm less of a pawn in someone else's chess game, and, I'm the one moving the pawns. So it's been really fun to kind of do that and tailor things toward a certain audience, and get to collaborate with other performers and other artists. So I've been, music has been a big influence in my life, and so to be able to incorporate the acting with the music in a different venue than musical theater is super fun. And it's just been like really, really cool for me. I think concepting, though, might be my favorite part about it, just because I'm enthralled with stories, and I'm so fascinated by people and, like psychology, anything like that. And so for me to get to create these videos, I'm the type of person that when I hear a song, I'm like, oh my gosh, I already have the music video in my head. You know what I mean? Even before I was a performer, I'd hear songs and I would just straight away envision a music video that would go with it. And that's just how I think. When I hear something or when I read a book, I'm already concepting a movie in my mind. And so it was really just kind of natural for me, in a sense, to start making these videos, because I already just I've got a vision. I know what I want to do, and I've been lucky to work with people who trust my vision. And I've had some weird, when you've got a concept for a video and you try to explain it to someone, it's like, sometimes it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. I don't know if I want to shoot this. You know what I mean? But you work around people that trust you and see you through the process. And then when it comes to fruition, then it's like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense. I get it. But sometimes you have to be, I've had to learn to build confidence in other areas other than acting, because I built the confidence in the acting, but when it comes to other stuff, I don't have as much experience or history with directing and producing. And, when I'm this 19-year-old girl waltzing in, it's like, what are you doing here? You're not qualified. And you just got to fake it till you make it and be confident and work hard and strategize. And it's been really cool for me to learn the business side of things as well. And once you put yourself out there and prove yourself, just because you're young and, you're maybe the minority in a group, doesn't mean you're incapable. You can kick butt if you just believe in yourself. And that's what I'm striving to do, I guess. But yeah, so I've been doing film, and as far as where I go next, I don't really exactly know. 10 years from now, what I'll be doing. I have things I want to do, but things can always change. I did not think I'd be where I am right now 10 years back, and just whatever I'm doing, I hope I'm influencing people for good, and that it's making a difference, and that, it's something I can look at myself and be like, yeah, I'm proud of what I did, and it's something that I can tell my kids about and be proud of. Kids, I don't have kids right now. I'm 19, don't worry. But in the future, when I have children. But yeah, I think that's all. That's my lifey, or my life. And I'm almost 20 and I'm scared, but it's fine. Aging is okay. I just like being a teenager. You guys relish being a teenager. It's great.